Oh, man, I feel good. I'm lying to y'all. I'm tired. I'm lying to y'all. Your brother is a little tired, man. I was watching Monday Night Raw with my sister, and I was looking at her. I was like, I ain't gonna lie to you. It's 8:30. I'm finna go to sleep. I was like, I don't even know if I'm gonna do this tonight. Like, I don't know if I got this in me, man. I'm tired, Grandpa. Like, I was like, I'm exhausted, Grandpa. Man. But a huge shout out to C Fluid. Good evening, sir. Good evening, brother. It's good to see you. It's good to see you, and it's always lovely to see you also in mutual settings as well. Usually see you in a text line of Circle of Debate. So of course love those boys as well. I'm assuming they either are still on air or just got off air. Either or, give those boys a nice subscribe. Hit the subscribe button for those guys. Of course, like and share and go to their watch parties every day because their watch parties are always top tier and fun. And of course, it's just some parties you just don't want to miss, none whatsoever, man, none whatsoever. So before we get into Monday Night Raw, I do want to talk about AEW though. I want to talk about AEW because there were a couple things that did happen. And even though this is a Monday Night Raw, this is a Monday Night Raw review. It's like a Raw 30. This might be a 45-minute. I might go 45 minutes here today, mainly because I want to get into a little bit of what happened in AEW Dynamite because, oh man, it's ridiculous. Like it is just absolutely ridiculous what's happening here. And huge shout out to C Fluid. He says it's good to see a streamer with some common sense and great knowledge of wrestling. Huge shout out to you as well, man. And that's the thing. Like we've been watching it our whole lives. Like, and that like every time I do a post and make a post on social media, I'm not this isn't something that has been researched, something that we've been watching over and over. This is something that we've seen, and we've seen bald head Randy Orton go on a terror. And I can tell you off rip, where I was and what I was doing when Randy did this stuff. It's just like and so on and so forth. And it's nice that all of us pretty much, and even Justin, because sometimes I'll be going off the rails. Sometimes I'll be going off the rails. Then Justin is always like I be thinking I'm knowledgeable. Justin is so like it's top tier, like. His memory bank and his knowledge of wrestling is just so top tier, and it goes far beyond me because I'm still wrestling style. I'm still WWE style. It's just like because that's all I grew up on was WWE style wrestling. So there's a lot of stuff like hell. Before we get into it, it's like there was some stuff on AEW where I can't get with. It's just stuff I just can't be hyped about. I'm still trying to wean myself into it. I'm trying to wean myself into it and be like, look. Other people like this, even though I don't necessarily have to like this, I'm still gonna watch it because look, I gotta support wrestling. It's like at the end of the day, I'm supporting wrestling. But damn it, what they did there, it's like what they did out there was crazy. Huge shout out to C Fluid. He says that's debatable, sir. Don't sell yourself short. Oh man, appreciate you, brother. Definitely appreciate you. But I like it's just having conversations with those boys. Cause Circle of Debate, they opened up my eyes to even more wrestling. It's just like I would have never have gone out and searched for AJ Styles taking on Kazuchika Okada. Like I never would have watched that fucking top tier classic match if it wasn't for Justin and those boys because I was still ignorant. I was still like, man, TNA, man, y'all can save that for Devin. I was like, Devin was watching TNA, man. I don't want to, man. See, I remember one day, true story, and Devin would tell you. Devin came to my apartment one day. This is when we were in college. Devin came to my apartment one day. I told him, yeah, bro, I'm in Indianapolis. I got my own crib. Come on and slide over. He slides over. He brings some video games. He brings over NBA Live. And then he said, well, I was going to bring over a TNA game. I was like, bro, I'm sorry. You was going to have to take that 2-hour trip back. Like that. You bring a TNA game to my crib, brother. I'm sorry. It's bad enough you got NBA Live in here. Like, but huge shout out to Devin, man. I love that brother, man. Huge shout out to Devin. But it was just one of those memories. I was just like, brother, you're not gonna. It's like I said, it's bad enough you bringing in NBA Live. Now you're talking about bringing in some TNA game. No, huge shout out to C Fluid. Ivan's opened my eyes to all of them. Yeah, exactly. Like all of them are just so knowledgeable. And it's just so top tier in what they know, what they watch, how they break it down, the science of it all. And You know, and they're not usually the ones that are going to be like, "Oh, you're stupid." You know, it's like you don't know nothing about wrestling. Like I haven't seen them say. I haven't even seen them say anything like crazy negative. Like maybe Notorious Dom will get on somebody's ass. You know, like Notorious Dom will maybe get on somebody's ass. You know, the devious one Ivan maybe. And Justin ain't no, Justin ain't no bitch, bro. Like Justin will get on somebody's ass, but like it's just like they're not gonna be confrontational, towards you in that type of deal where it's just like when when we first started doing the Heel Turn podcast and we started being critical of AEW, the first comments we were getting on social media, this says a lot about your knowledge of wrestling. You know nothing. Zero. Your knowledge is zero. You're like your grappling is zero. It's just like if you guys are Habib fans, Habib Nurmagomedov fans. But yeah, like damn, like it was just like so like brutal. You're just like fuck. Like where's this coming from? All I said was I just didn't like one episode of a show that's gonna be on for many years to come. Like damn, and you mad at me? It's just like you angry at the world. Like Jesus Christ, is my light on? Yeah, that light is on. Hold on, let me turn that off real fast. Bow. Yeah, I just seen that from the corner of the screen. I'm like, is my light on? I was like, this don't look right. I do have I got an LED light. What is that? 80 watts up top. Now that I looked at it, I'm blind. I can't see now. But it's like, so I was like, I got that going. I don't need any extra more lights, going on here. But we got to get into AEW. First off, before we get into the huge thing that we're going to talk about, of course, the huge main event that we're going to get into, Ronda Rousey showed up. Of course, this was after the Toni Storm Marina Shafir match. And goddamn, man. Goddamn, man. Ooh, you shout out to Seafood. I want to talk about this. He says, true story. Dom and Justin got in their feelings about Stab with me last night. No hard feelings, but I promise you I was right. No, I don't know, man. I don't know. See, that's the thing. What was it though? What was it? And I'm not on nobody's side. Let me hear your take. Because I believe you had an AJ Lee take that was insane, brother. Like you had an AJ Lee take that was insane. And that's why I do fuck with you, because you stand on your shit. Like you stand on it completely. So I got nothing negative to say when it comes to C Fluid. I got nothing negative to say when it comes to anybody. Like Prince coming here. Prince is an OG for real, man. Prince was funny as hell. Prince was 100% an OG. He used to come in here, say how negative I was. Prince was funny as hell. He would tell me straight up if I was tweaking. And 9 times out of 10, I was tweaking. So it was like, I got to give that shit to Prince. Like, Prince was funny as hell. So it's just like, sometimes, man, like, no, but what'd you say? What'd you say? Because like I said, sometimes you be wilding. So I gotta know. I gotta know what you said. But like I said, I do love the fact that you stand on it. That you stand on what you say. You say what you mean and mean what you say. And damn it, 9 times out of 10, I do be agreeing. But since it's AEW, they're more so, I'm pretty sure they've been watching since the beginning. And I've always talked about this. I started watching AEW when, as soon as I saw that it was a rumor, it was a fucking rumor that CM Punk was going to show up at AEW, I tuned in immediately. As soon as and I believe it was like, it faded in. Like, it just faded out of black. And of course, you see the fans come in, they're chanting CM Punk, cult of personality hits. There's grown men crying. I'm like, bro, this is real life. I'm getting off of work at Amazon. I think I got off work early at Amazon. I was like, I gotta get out of here. oh man, like that's a top tier moment. Like that was a top tier moment. Huge shout out to C Fluid, because I'm curious. I really want to see. He says, true story. All I stated was that Stab is a great wrestler, but the mainstream wrestling crowd doesn't cheer for her as much. I can see that. I can see that. I can see that. Like I can see that. I don't think you're tweaking. I don't think you're tweaking. I don't think you're tweaking. But now I do got to get their side of the story, because now I need to know what you be saying. It was like I need to know what you said. But obviously it's not it's not nothing crazy going on. It's not nothing negative going on. I just like seeing, of course, disagreements in wrestling, because that's the fun side of things. Like when Devin the Tribal Chief came on and Devin was flaming me about Roman. Oh my God. And then even Justin, I believe Justin at the time was in the chat, was like, hey, Izzy, I ain't gonna lie to you. You're getting cooked right now. Like I can't even save you. Like you're getting smacked right now. Like it was bad. And that was, of course, during the time when Roman was on a fucking monstrous run. So I couldn't say shit to begin with. But man, like, You know, it's just like it's just stuff like that that's dope. He says, Seafluid also says Stat just doesn't get loud reactions at most. Yeah, I can see that. But then again, like AEW, let's be honest, man. And this is from me watching AEW, and this is from me being there as well. There's a lot of moments in matches where everybody just like it's not like WWE and everywhere else where a lot of crowds are yelling and then they're constantly yelling and constantly screaming. It's like the AEW fans are just like, oh, like and then just that's it. Like they just have that one solid reaction. Oh my god, I can't believe it. And then it's just complete silence. Like, and you hear it throughout the match. Oh, like you could do other reactions. You know, it's like, of course they got their chants, you know, the cowboy ish and everything. Like, you know, they chant, you know, I'm not saying that AEW fans are like boring, but damn it, they can be. You know, it's just like, damn it, they don't know. There are multiple times where it seems like they just don't know where or how to react. And honestly, in WWE's defense, in AEW's defense, I should say, WWE be using it in piped in audio. I'll never forget the time I believe it was at WrestlePalooza, where we heard, you know, it's like the crowd's getting louder. You hear the roaring, but nobody's moving. You know, it's like nothing's happening. You can kind of tell. It's like being in the video. It's like being in the basketball game. I think I talked about this on stream before. It's like being in the basketball game where you defense, and then it stops because it wants you guys to finish off. So of course that's how WWE is playing it. You know, you hear, of course, the you know, it's getting loud. You know, it's getting a little loud. Then of course the crowd comes in, joins in with them, and then of course that's how you start the noise. They finesse the system in that way. And now this isn't 100% fact. You know, there could be a WWE production guy come out and saying that, hey, this dude is complete false and this brother's a liar. But from from what I've seen, from what I've heard, and even from freaking experience from 24 years of sports experience, you know, like I think you could tell the difference between what's real and what's not. He shout out to C Fluid. He says, I trolled with the ECW Tommy Dreamer storyline a bit pertaining to Stat. Yeah, that's fucked. All right, see, that's your problem. You did too much. He's like, see, that's your problem. No, I'm clouded with you. Like, but honestly, I don't think you're wrong, though. Like, I think there's a lot of times, like Chris Statlander, there's a lot of course, the top guys are always going to get that love. Your Will Ospreays, your Swerve Strickland now was on top of there. Your John Moxleys, your Kenny Omegas. Hell, I would actually put the Young Bucks underneath there. I would have put the Young Bucks there before. I got to drop them down like a tier because nobody really cares about them no more. But honestly, like you come to a point where Ricochet, there goes Ricochet. Ricochet is kind of in that Chris Statlander territory where, yeah, we react because we know who they are. We react because some of us root for them or some of us root against them, depending on what side of the fence they're on. But at the end of the day, we know we're in for something good. You know, it's like I don't think I've ever been like insanely disappointed over a Chris Statlander match, you know, or I don't think I've ever been insanely disappointed over Chris Statlander. You know, I think Chris Statlander has always done great work. It's just the fact that, like I said with Ricochet, you know, I feel like both of them are just in that territory where we know them, we know who they are. It's just the fact that they're not, like you said, it's just not getting the crowd reaction that we're expecting. Huge shout out to TK, Tim King. Yo, what's up, my guy? Yo, what's good, brother? What's up with Thursday? I slid in with y'all Thursday. If y'all are on Thursday, man, I would love to join y'all if I could, you know, if with your permission, obviously, you know. And if you guys don't know, or if you're just ignorant, blind, live underneath a rock, hit that subscribe button to Circle of Debate. You can watch the Tim King show. And this is more than just wrestling, of course. Like, this man is just, in terms of sports knowledge, it's all the way there. You're going to be highly entertained regardless. Huge shout out to Tim King. Huge shout out to Circle of Debate. Just absolute dogs over there. And like I said, I would love to hop on the show as well if you let me. It seems like y'all be flying too. Y'all be flying through the topics too. So definitely just a great host and just a great show as well. On top of that, huge shout out to C Fluid. I'm not saying it's her fault, but AEW system is a bit different than WWE's as far as character development. That's the problem with AEW though. Like, AEW caters to their fans. They cater to their fans. Like, the people. I mean, we might as well just get into it. I was gonna talk about Ronda Rousey, but hell, I mean, like at the end of the day, look, I feel like I speak for everybody. Who gives a damn about Ronda Rousey? Who gives a damn about Ronda Rousey? Look, Ronda Rousey can go somewhere. Look, she's been talking trash about wrestling as a whole, about how it's the F word. You know, we ain't gonna talk about that here on this program. But she talks about how wrestling is just the huge F word. She talks about how even promoting her UFC fight now, not UFC fight, her MMA match. You know, even promoting her match, her fight for Netflix. Like, she's talking down on UFC. She's talking down on professional wrestling as a whole. And then you pop up on AEW. Like, what are you doing here? What do you want to do? I ain't gonna hate on somebody for chasing a bag. Like, you know, I feel like that's cool. Like that's never no problem. Huge shout out to Tim King. He says, I appreciate the kind words. Brother, you're always welcome to anything. COD, anytime I'll reach out to set something up. Man, I really appreciate you, brother. Like I said, huge shout out to Tim King. Huge shout out to Circle of Debate, man. Like that, them boys can't do no wrong. Like I said, even yesterday, I streamed yesterday, and even at the end of the stream, whether we get a text in or not, there's gonna be a Circle of Debate shout out, and there's gonna be a Devin the Tribal Chief shout out as well, because we, like, you know, we started with them guys, man. Like it started off with Justin, and then Justin just brought us to the family. It's like a church, you know. It's just like when you bring somebody into the church home, and it's just like, you know, the doors to the church are open. You know, you guys ever heard this? I work at a gospel station, so I got to. But it's like, you know, you guys ever heard that song? It's like Justin just brought me in. You know, and it was just like, if anybody wants to be welcomed into the church, you know, it's like, please step to the podium, please step up. You know, and that's what me and Devin did. We stepped up, and we got showed a whole lot of love from Circle of Debate, and we love them, man. We love them boys, and we love Devin the Tribal Chief too. We just saw him on Raw just recently. So huge shout out to Devin the Tribal Chief. Yeah, huge shout out to C Fluid Facts. The streamer Minnie said the same thing about Ronda. I ain't gonna talk about these streamers. I ain't gonna talk about these streamers, man. I ain't gonna talk about them, because I kind of did after World's End, because we didn't meet them, but we have seen them on numerous occasions. Like, me and Devin have ran into Wheezy multiple times. We've ran into Mini Portal multiple times. We never ran into Devin the Tribal Chief just yet, but we ran into even a wrestling station in Chicago a couple times. But at the end of the day, like, they're great at what they do. You know, it's like they're great at what they do. They're great streamers. It was just the fact that when we went to World's End and the streamers were there, but they didn't ask a question, and I'm like, man, y'all, like, this is a media scrum. You're here to, you know, that was the only thing that threw me off about streamers, and, you know, streamers being at media scrums and whatnot. I'm like, you know, it's cool. The streamers get all the love in the world from the promotions. That I have zero problem with. It's just, and this might just be the media, you know, just the media side of me, you know, just me working in that field. Like, if you're, you know, you're not there with a camera in your hand, you know, you're literally just there to sit down, go home, and react. Like, to me, that's at that point in time, when it's a media scrum, that's bullshit. Like, at that point in time, if you're a streamer and you're going to a media scrum and then you go home, I just went to a media scrum and here are my thoughts and opinions. Fuck you. You know, it's like, no, that's bullshit, bro. I'm sorry. That's bull. Like, you got to ask a question. Like, that's what the media scrum is there for. That's what they start off with. If you have any questions, you know, it's just like, you got to say, you step up, bring something up. And so to go up there and not say nothing and then to go home and react about it, that's I think that's a little, you know, it's a little messed up. But if they want to get up in the front row, because when we went to World's End, me and Devin, they gave us beautiful seats. But damn it, Minnie and Wheezy, they had barricades. Like, they were on the barricades, man, and that's no problem at all. Look at what they are, look at what they do, and they're entertaining people. I watch them, so I'm like, there's no hate involved. Like, I love streamers getting the bag. It's just when you get to the media scrums, it's just when you get to the media scrums and y'all just looking at each other, just staring. Like, no, this ain't cool points, brother. We need to ask questions. Like, you know, it's like I was there with 3 questions. I asked Devin, man. I was there with 3 questions for Tony Khan, and when I didn't get to ask those questions, and I had to just settle, just for a Willow Nightingale question, which turned out beautifully. When you look at the timeline of it all, it's just a blessing to be there. But to go there and not do nothing, man, I was hot at the moment. I ain't gonna lie to y'all. Like, it's like I was hot. I was a little hot, but I'm sorry I did all this talking, man. I see that's my problem. This is my problem. Huge shout out to Tim King. I loved that Revolution last night. Revolution was dope, but I ain't gonna lie to you, man. And I was just talking about this. This might just be the WWE side of me. I grew up with the WWE style. I just grew up with the WWE style of wrestling. So ECW, I grew up with the WWE ECW style. Unfortunately I didn't grow up with the Paul E. I didn't grow up with Paul E. Heyman. Running this tight ship that he had with ECW. So I can't necessarily go back and be like, oh, well, I love the gory action violence that ECW had. I got to go back and watch it. I didn't, it wasn't grown up on me. So when AEW does all the craziness that they did, especially with MJF and Hangman Page last night, I get a little uncomfortable. Like, it's just like, I get a little uncomfortable. I watched the whole thing and I was just like, y'all had me all the way up until this very last match. Like, this very last match is when I was just like, all right, I'm done. I was just like, I think I'm done for the day. I'm gonna have nightmares now. Huge shout out to C Fluid. I understand they should have at least asked something. Do you mind me asking what you were gonna ask Sony? One of them, I usually have like two solid, like usually when I go to like not necessarily media scrums, but like press conferences or any type of like media appearance, I try to have at least two questions that are like not serious, but at least pertain to something, and then I have one that's kind of a little bit like fluff. And one of them that I remember was and I think this was a little fluff. It was about Stokely. This was when Stokely Hathaway, I think this is when he bounced off the table. He like bounced off the table and just didn't get up for the remainder of the match. And I looked at Devin. I'm like, you seen Stokely? I was like, we ain't seen Stokely this whole time, like, brother. And I was gonna ask Stokely. I was gonna ask Tony. I was like, hey, brother, like, I was gonna say, hey, brother, but I was gonna be like, hey, any update on Stokely Hathaway? Like, we seen him take a nasty spill. Just any word or any update on what was going on with him. And another one, I forgot the very last one, but the one thing I do remember was I was going to ask them with them winning. Oh, because they won a plethora of awards. If you remember the end of the year awards that they were winning, not only for they were winning not only at Sports Illustrated, but they were also winning with Dave Meltzer, Wrestling Observer. Damn, I was struggling. But Wrestling Observer, Sports Illustrated, they were winning a decent amount of awards. So I was asking them, what does these awards or racking up these awards mean to you in terms of how are you going to innovate like storylines, and how are you going to build up on it for next year? What we're going to get here in 2026. So you're winning all these awards. You had an amazing 2025. What are you going to do to build upon it in 2026? Pretty much that's what I was going to say, paraphrasing it. I had it all in a little notebook. But those are my two. I had a fluff question. That was my other hard-hitting question. Question that it was a question that I thought needed some detail. A question that I thought he was going to take like 20 minutes on. If I'm gonna be honest with you. So it's just things like that. But I didn't end up asking those questions. Unfortunately, I didn't get time. But Willow Nightingale question I asked, it was completely out of my ass. Like, I had no idea. When she went up there, I didn't know what was going on. I didn't know what was happening. I just knew that she was going to be like the second to last person to go up there. And if I didn't ask a question, I was going to be pissed. Like, I was going to be pissed. And you know what was funny? And this isn't like a brag. This isn't like flexing or nothing. But like, me and Devin walked out. And I was like, Devin, I ain't going to lie to you. I'm kind of pissed that I didn't ask Tony kind of question. He was like, brother, you've literally talked to Kevin Durant before. Like, he was like, you've asked Kevin Durant multiple questions, and you mad him because you didn't talk to Tony Khan. Like, he was like, and no disrespect, like, he's not trying to say like Tony Khan is like Kevin, but he's like, brother, like, you've talked to basketball players, like, you've talked to people that you've grown up and watched. Like, you'll be fine. Like, because he knew that I was going. Devin knows me like off the back of his head. Like, he knew I was going to be like, shitty that whole hour ride home. I was, didn't ask Tony Khan no question. Like, I was gonna be hot. And Devin just pretty much just straight up like, bro, you'll be fine. Like, you will be fine. Huge shout out to C Fluid, professional question on your end. Huge shout out to you, bro. Appreciate you. It was a whole lot of fun. That's why when I knew, as soon as we got credentials for the media scrum, I was like, Devin, we ain't leaving here till one of us ask a question. I had both questions written down for both of us, and we just didn't have time to get to either of our questions. But I'm still glad that we got the one out. So, and like I said, it turned out to be something great. But this is supposed to be a Raw review, and I'm turned it into AEW. But AEW got some problems, man. And I talked about this before about AEW, that I've been really lackadaisical in see, Zion, take notes. That's how you say lackadaisical. But I've been really lackadaisical in covering AEW. And honestly, you shout out to C Fluid, brother. You asked Kevin Durant about his burner account? Nah, man, I wish. I had no idea about Kevin. Well, of course, we all knew about a Kevin Durant burner account, but I didn't know nothing about it at the time. I forgot what I asked Kevin Durant. It's on my Instagram. I'm just pissed about Devin Booker. I'm Devin Booker. I'll never forget. And I always tell the story, so I'm not gonna bring it up. But Devin Booker, I'll never forget that, man. What you did to us. He didn't do nothing like crazy. It wasn't nothing like serious, but. And like I said, I told the story before. They lost to the Dallas Mavericks. We waited an hour in the media room, and Devin Booker ain't show up. So I was like, oh, so we can wait for you. When you lose and you don't show up, but when y'all winning and happy and celebrating, you want to be the first one to come up here. Okay, what questions y'all got for me? Like, what do y'all want to ask? But when you lose and get your ass bust and Luka smiling in your face, it's just like you don't want to ask no questions. You don't want to answer no questions, because you best believe. As soon as he sat down, I would have stood up. As soon as he sat down, I would have stood up. Isaiah Jackson, WTSM TV. Hello, how you doing? Got a quick question. Shout out to C Fluid. Sorry, sir. I like to talk about it. I'm sorry. I like to talk about it. Times my bad. Nah, bro. We always have this. This is too fun. This is always too fun. Especially just getting into the intertwine. I like the intertwining of sports and WWE, so I never complain about talking about either or. Because I never complain about talking about either or. Yeah, no, that Hangman Page match, I gotta go somewhere. Hangman Page. First off, let me start off by saying, Hangman Page, you got what you deserve, brother. You got what you deserve. I was praying on your downfall. In the words of the great Drew McIntyre, I prayed for this and it happened. Yes. Now, granted, the match, don't want to watch it ever again. The match, don't want to watch it ever again. We're talking needles through the cheek. We're talking dragging a man through glass. We're talking barbed wire. We're talking getting thrown off the stage into tables, electrocutions. It's just crazy stuff all over the place. Blood absolutely everywhere, stabbing people with shards of glass. Choking people out with chains. It's like, man, can I go on? Shall I go on? I forgot what else even happened. It's just like, but all that. Oh, light tubes. You got light tubes as well joining into the party. Like, no, we didn't need all that. We didn't need all that. Like, MJF is too talented of a wrestler to be even doing all that. If I'm going to be honest with you, MJF, I think, is just too talented of a wrestler to just be doing all that to begin with. Now, a huge shout out to MJF and Hangman Page. They showed that there's some tough guys that can handle that and work that hard, rough style. But that's just, in the words of Jim Cornette, I've heard Jim Cornette say this before, and I don't know where he got it from, so I gotta quote him. For those that like that kind of stuff, that's that kind of stuff that those people like. Like, that match was strictly for the AEW sickos, and I hope they loved every second of it, because they completely shut out everybody outside of that AEW sicko realm, and that's AEW's problem. I feel like that's one of AEW's biggest problems, but they get in their own way. But matter of fact, hold on, I think Brian Alvarez actually had a great quote that we're actually going to see here. I'm actually going to share this. Let's see. He had a really, really great quote that I saw earlier here. Let's actually go to the Heel Turns Twitter page that you can follow as well at _the heel turn. But True Colors, we did that yesterday. That was actually pretty fun. But let's get into this. Let's get into Brian Alvarez's comments.
But by the time,
okay, let's put it in full screen, and I'm gonna go halfway too because there was only a point. There was only a small little portion that I really wanted to see. Here it goes. It starts right here. So I 100% agree. Yeah, here it goes. I 100% agree with Brian Alvarez here. Let's just jump right into it. We're not gonna play the whole thing. Yeah, I think that's about maybe 50 seconds. Let's play 50 seconds of it.
In AEW, and then it's like we got to find a way to make it true.
Actually, I lied. Here it goes. Let's start right here because where I started at is the quote where I don't want to cut that off at all. Let's jump right into it.
In mine, this was way too much. This was like when you have all of the crazy we've ever seen in AEW, and then it's like we got to find a way to make it 2 times crazier. Let's go 2 times crazier than anything you've ever done. For 45 minutes, 3 hours and 40 minutes into the show, and I was just like, when it was over, I was like so down on this when it was over because it just feels like they feel like they're as hot as they have been in years. And I just feel like Tony's always like right there, man. He's right on the cusp, and then he just can't help himself. Let's go till 12:30 on a work night and a school night with this ultra-violent that even Paul Heyman would be like, whoa, brother, pump the brakes, dude. This is way too crazy.
Yeah, I thought that was spot on. I don't know. I feel like that he's kind of explained it right there. For 40 minutes, we saw a gruesome bout. We saw some gruesome action. And even throughout it all, when you look at it at the end of the day, it's tough to watch. It's tough to see. And like I said, from the outside looking in, it's just like for somebody that didn't grow up on, like I talked about Randy Orton's match with Mick Foley. That was the roughest match I've ever seen. It's like in my livelihood. That was Randy Orton versus Mick Foley. I believe that was like Armageddon. It was like some a back and forth that they had. Randy Orton landed on thumbtacks, I'm bleeding all over the place. JBL taking on John Cena and Armageddon, the I Quit match. John Cena bleeding profusely all over the place. It's just like there's a lot of crazy stuff that goes on. At least there's little bits and pieces that happen in WWE that you saw a little bit of hardcore. You saw some hardcore matches, and that was the most extreme that I've saw in my livelihood that I grew up on. And now you see AEW. Now the only problem with AEW is that they do this at least once every 2 weeks. They do this like once every 2 weeks. Like it seems like it's a problem here. You always get like this crazy, insane death match. And I feel like with the MJF match, it was a huge problem because we've seen them do all of that in a match before. We've seen them do all of that in a match before. But the only problem is they decided to combine it all into one, make it into one bloody, horrific, gory match. And I feel like you shunned away a lot of the people that try to at least give AEW a chance. And I think that's where they fail a lot. I feel like a lot of people try to give AEW a chance, and then they see matches like that, and they're like, "No, thank you." It's just like, I actually have I ain't trying to throw nobody under the bus. I'm not gonna say, what they are, what they do, but I do have a coworker that, they swear up and down they love wrestling. They definitely don't. Okay, it sounds like there's somebody at the door. And I thought somebody was downstairs to get that for me. Okay, they did. Okay, cool. I was like, okay, cool. I was hearing somebody coming down, ringing the doorbell. I was like, I don't want to go downstairs. I don't want to go downstairs. But yeah, I feel like it's AEW, one of AEW's biggest problems. They get themselves in their own way. You have a bunch of fans that want to give AEW a chance, and they see matches like this, or they hear that matches like this took place. They hear that people are getting drowned in fish tanks, and they're like, why would I want to give this a chance? It's just like, why would I want to give this a chance? Huge shout out to C Fluid. He says, I actually enjoyed the pay-per-view, but I understand where you're coming from as far as violence goes. Yeah, the pay-per-view was dope. Like, I got no problem with the pay-per-view. It's just the match itself. It's just that main event itself. When you got somebody having a needle and putting it through somebody's cheek and squirting. You're like, come on now, like that's a lot. I'm about to faint just explaining it. It's just like, man, he tried to see fluid. So are you saying that AEW's pay-per-views are just as long as Baptist church services? Yes, that's 100%, maybe even longer. But you might have to ask Justin that question. You have to ask Justin that question, Justin and Notorious Dom, because I'm thankful enough to where I lived on the West Coast and in the Midwest. So AEW pay-per-views ended at either 10 o'clock or 12 o'clock. Them brothers staying up till 1 a.m., 2 a.m. You know, they got the heavy duty. You know, and then potentially got to do a watch the media scrum as well and review that, man. And then go to work the next day on a Monday. Like, come on. Tony Khan, you got to start paying Circle of Debate. You know, that's what it is. Tony Khan, put some money in Circle of Debate. And we also I need that referral. I need that referral check as well. Give me that referral check, please. But we got to get into Monday Night Raw. Because, man, oh man, I liked the beginning and the end of Monday Night Raw. Everything in the middle, throw it away. Throw it away. You can keep it because I want nothing to do with it at all. I thought it was pretty weak. I mean, in totality, I would give, Monday Night Raw a B just based off of what happened in the beginning and the end of this show. But at the end of the day, I wouldn't, this wouldn't be nothing I'd be freaking out over. If this was a go-home show, I would be insanely disappointed. I was like, I probably wouldn't even watch WrestleMania. Just like if something like this was going on. But still a solid Monday Night Raw for what it was. Just going back and going to the beginning, of course, Seth Rollins came out with his plethora of masked men. And as he's talking, you just hear a bunch of a loud boo rain around the arena. And you turn around and you see Paul Heyman just looking disheveled, eyes just beady, look like he hasn't slept. His left eye is bloodshot red. His right eye looks perfectly fine, but they're bugging out of his face. He's got some yellow stuff over his eye, like he hasn't slept. And he's just like, hey, man, I wanted to come out here so I can personally see what happens to you. I'm like, brother, you okay? He looked like the Joker, like Jack Nicholson version. I was like, brother, calm down, relax yourself. Calm down. Whoa, relax yourself, Jamal. What did he say? Take it easy, Jamal. I forgot what he said, man. I forgot what Mark Phillips said. Whoa, calm down, Jamal. I forgot what he said. Something about Jamal. But yeah, Paul Heyman. He said FAFO, FAF5. And then, of course, you hear Brock Lesnar's music hit. He comes out, him and Seth, well, of course, after he beats up Seth Rollins' masked man, he goes into the ring, looks at Seth Rollins face to face. The lights go out. And, of course, you hear the drum. It was like One Piece. I'm sorry. Can I make a One Piece reference here? For those that don't watch One Piece, get up out of here. Not get up out of here, but just take some time here. Just hear me out for a quick second. Well, Obafemi came out like Luffy. Let's be honest here. Let's be honest. For those that watch One Piece, if you guys ever seen Luffy go to God tier, turn to gear 5, and you hear the drums go doom, doom, doom. You start hearing the drums go off. He's seeing the rhythm going. The guys start dancing. They start hitting that Obafemi dance. Bro, let me look this up. Y'all think I'm playing? Y'all think I'm tripping, bro? Y'all finna look at this and tell me I'm tweaking tonight. This is. Tell me Luffy don't come out looking like Luffy don't come out here like a Obafemi. Luffy Gear 5. Let's look at this. Tell me I'm not tripping. Because this is I feel like this is exactly what it is. I gotta find the what's it called? The Giants. I gotta find the Giants dancing with him because there was a point in time where he transformed. And there was a bunch of giants just dancing around them. And they're just like, man, we can't stop dancing, man. I got to get jiggy with it. That's Obafemi. I'm telling you. Obafemi be getting down. He Luffy. I'm going to start calling this man Luffy now. I'm sorry. That's just what it is. Let me see. Now I got to skim over. Now I'm skimming over. I got to go through. Joy Boy will be the one to defeat me. Yeah, no, we ain't talking about Joy. Yeah, we can talk about Joy Boy later. But Jesus, man, we gotta. I was like, this was just so unreal. Let me see. But once you hear the beat, once you guys see what I'm talking about, I'll look for it later. I'll look for it in a minute. But even then, I just think that Obafemi coming out and doing that to Brock Lesnar was a breath of fresh air. How many times have we come out? How many times have we turned on our TV screens and seen Brock Lesnar destroy our favorite wrestler? Especially, if they were preferably black. It's just like, but then he's just taking the title away from him. But how many times have we seen Brock Lesnar just come out here and just lay the smackdown on our favorite wrestler and just most likely just intimidate them out their position? And more often than not, I really feel like this was just a huge breath of fresh air and something that is just absolutely needed, for Obafemi. And I thought he started crying. I was like, is that my I was like, is my man shedding a tear? My man shedding a tear out here. I was like, but I can't, it's just like you can't blame him, man. This is huge. This is too huge. Too huge of a moment for Obafemi. Brock Lesnar did a great job, and not only selling for him, but just showing that he's in with this too. Showing that, hey man, we're gonna go one-on-one. He's gonna go one-on-one with Brock Lesnar, and I just hope that Brock Lesnar plays ball with this man. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just hope Brock Lesnar plays ball with this dude. Huge shout out to C Fluid. WWE better not turn this to Omos versus Brock situation at Mania. I really hope not. I really hope Obafemi does something great with this, but you never know. It's just like at this point, you just never know anymore. Like, honestly, well, hold on. Let's see this. Let's skim. I'm gonna skim this over. Oh, but is the music in? Yeah, see, I'm telling you. Now, of course, you're not gonna see the dance here. I was like, the dance is gonna happen, but I'm telling you, once you hear, now Obafemi doesn't have like crazy beats in his Let me find a better one. I can find a better video than that. So let me stop. Well, I don't think Obafemi. If anything, I think Obafemi and Brock Lesnar have a better chance of being like Brock versus Goldberg than a Brock versus Omos. I was like, more often than not, just mainly because I think that WWE will try to do their best to protect Obafemi and of course Brock Lesnar as well. But that's not gonna stop Brock Lesnar from doing his own thing. So, honestly, I really have a lot of hope in this match, but I think my expectations are still like kind of around like, was it Punk Reigns level. That's where I think we're at. That's where I think my expectation level is at least. We're at Punk Reigns level. And so even looking at that, hey, did I find it? Hey, did I find it? Let me see. Oh, okay, cool. Okay, I found the clip. I was like, it was just gonna take me a little bit of time. But even looking at it and going through Obafemi, and of course just hearing the rhythm. Hold on, let me share this. Let me share my screen real fast. Look at this. Tell me y'all don't hear this. Y'all don't hear Obafemi's music. Y'all don't. Look at my man, it's getting jiggy. Oi, utangen no rhythm da. Hold on, that's that Obafemi dance. Hold on. Now it might be a stretch. But I seen that little arm movement. I seen the little gyrating a little over and over again. I'm telling you, Luffy transforms. They hear the beat drop. Look at my boy. That's how Obafemi walked to the ring. I'm trying to tell y'all. Look, I'm telling you. He said he was shot out the C Fluid. That's crazy, but I see it. Look, man, I'm telling you. You hear the beat go off. You see the little dance move. I'm like, man, I'm just gonna start calling Obafemi Luffy. That's just what it is now. But I will say that was by far the biggest highlight, especially Michael Cole getting censored, after it all. Obafemi just pretty much hearing like a spirit. That was like a Keith Lee spirit bomb, but it was of course fall from grace. But just a beautiful, beautiful power bomb from Obafemi. Just the beating of the chest. It's just like so beautiful, man. And just knowing how young he is and knowing there's a whole lot going for him. I can't wait. I can't wait to see how they treat my guy. Just can't wait to see how they treat my guy. And look at that. Like, that's crazy, but I see it. Who would have ever thought we would see something like this, bro? A picture like this. Obafemi 1 foot over the chest of Brock Lesnar, man. That's insane. Brock Lesnar made him look really good there. I gotta give him that. That was nice. It was real nice. I don't want to talk about the Americanos. I really don't, because it's not going anywhere, and I could care less. I literally could care less. So I'm moving on. See Fluid? I said you was tripping about AJ Lee. I ain't gonna lie. I watched this match and I was like, man, C Fluid got a point. I was like, I ain't gonna lie, man. I was like, C Fluid, you might have a point, man. Look at that. He said, especially when Oba put his foot over Brock's chest. It was deep, man. I was like, I couldn't believe that. But C Fluid, you got a point. AJ's matches, man. I was watching this match and I was like, ooh. It was like I was watching it was like I was watching Fear Factor. It's like I was watching Fear Factor. Ooh. That didn't ooh. AJ, you better stop it. Stop. Okay, good, it's over. It's just like okay, good, it's over. Yeah, this match was not good. This match was not good. No. I didn't think this match was good. You shout out to C Fluid. Thank you, sir, for seeing things my way. Man, look, I love AJ Lee, but man, she definitely takes after her husband. Her matches, or at least in this term, match was slow. Took forever. And when you have somebody as talented and experienced as Bayley, you expect them to do great work. But even in the beginning of this match, it was like I ain't never seen like the technical work just move that slow. Just move at a tail's pace. The tail's pace. Wow. Move at a snail's pace. It was just absolute garbage. I just wasn't a fan like this. And like I said, it's ring rust. AJ Lee will be fine after a while. She just got to wrestle a couple times. But that's the problem. Everybody is now licking at the chops to wrestle with their idol, to wrestle with somebody they grew up watching in AJ Lee, or somebody that they were inspired by in AJ Lee. But this isn't, you're not wrestling AJ Lee in 2012. It's like you're not wrestling 2013, 2014 AJ Lee. You're wrestling the AJ Lee of 10 years retired. It's like, you're wrestling a 10-year retired AJ Lee. And now just randomly just got herself into the WWE and is trying to make some magic. And right now, it's just the magic's not being made. Honestly, the magic is not being made. Trying to tell you the 1980 style. Please give AJ Lee some oil for that rust. Yeah, it ain't happening. It ain't happening. Not anytime soon, brother. It's gonna be a long while before we turn around and be like, you know what, AJ? That was a good match. I feel like it's gonna be a long while. So we're just like, you know what, AJ? You did a good job. You actually did a solid job in this match. But until then, honestly, it's gonna be a minute, And take your time, AJ. Take your time. But for now, you got to eat the criticism. You do got to eat the criticism because this match was awful. Let's actually, I'm on Bleacher Report. What did they grade this match? They gave this, C Fluid, they gave this match a B+. C-. C-. I'm giving them a good C-. I feel like there's some meat riding going on here.
Boing boing.
Yeah, I think there's some riding going on here, brother. Let's see why they say this B+. Huge shout out to C Fluid. So respectfully speaking, women's wrestling has evolved. Yeah, women's wrestling has evolved. AJ Lee, she is the pinnacle of what's happening now you are not necessarily the founder, but you are one of the mothers. You know, you are one of the mothers here. You are one of the people that have laid the foundation for a lot of the women that have wrestling now. But look, it's you were wrestling at a time where the only person, the next woman up that was keeping up with you, AJ Lee, was Nikki Bella. Come on now. Come on now. And I don't want to talk about Nikki. I already talked about the Bellas and why I'm not going to criticize them no more. Well, I'm going to keep my criticisms to a minimum. I'm still going to criticize them, but I'm going to keep it to a minimum. But still, like, come on. Like, there was AJ Lee was dominant at a point in time where women's wrestling was still seen as a divas era. Was still seen as like the divas. We're still in that divas era. And so AJ Lee was the one to break out of that. And then, of course, that brought us to, women like Becky Lynch, women like Charlotte, Sasha Banks, Bayley herself, so AJ Lee, you done some great work for the women's division. We gotta calm down here. He's like, we gotta calm it down here for a little bit. He shot at the C Fluid. When I said that, she could take her time. And he said, sir, she did take her time. Sir, she did take her time. See, Fluid says, why? Wait, why what? Because my bad. I was just flowing and I said a lot. So I apologize. I completely missed what I was even going off on to begin with. I know what I was talking about with AJ Lee, but okay, there it goes. Why do you feel like the Bellas don't know any better? Or do you feel like the Bellas don't know any better? The Bellas, look, man, I put nothing past the Bellas. The Bellas are from Scottsdale, Arizona. It's like I show a great amount of love and appreciation for them because they were brought in and you didn't really expect them to do much. You kind of expect them to still be put in that divas realm, and then Nikki Bella started lifting weights. Nikki Bella started lifting opponents up. You started seeing the rack attack. You started seeing her being a little bit more dominant, and started being a little bit more aggressive. We started seeing the forearms started laying in a little bit harder. So Nikki Bella played her part, in terms of Nikki Bella did, what I want to say, what's the word? Not evolve, but she not progressed. What's the word? Man, she adapted. There it goes. She adapted to the style. She adapted to the what it was in WWE. So did Brie Bella. Brie Bella realized, okay, well, I'm not gonna be able to lift people up. I'm not gonna be able to be as powerful as my sister. But hey, I can hit these suicide dives like nobody's business, and I can do I can do so on and so forth. Shout out to C Fluid. You're very respectful, sir. Honestly, they make my stomach, and I couldn't even imagine. Look, they make his stomach so sick he couldn't even finish the sentence, man. They made his stomach so sick he couldn't even finish it out. And I don't blame you. They make me sick. But that's the thing. Me and Devin got the chance to talk to a couple of women's wrestlers, and not anybody of and the biggest name out of those women's wrestlers. And a huge shout out to her is Brittany Brooks. And Brittany Brooks is on a tear. I believe she should be getting WWE ID pretty soon. If not, we're going to speak it into existence. Brittany Brooks, we're speaking it into existence. But a couple of the women's wrestlers that we talked to, a decent amount of them said that their inspiration came from Nikki Bella. And so even though I would always come on here and be like, Nikki Bella's trash, she does nothing for wrestling, she sends women's wrestling back 20 years. If it gives us some solid wrestlers, if it gives us some great wrestlers like Brittany Brooks, if it gives us some great wrestlers like whoever is going to come out here on the forefront, and be the next women's wrestler, so be it. Because I don't know what I'm talking about. It's like I don't know what I'm talking about. It's like she's not influencing me to do nothing, but she could definitely influence, somebody else. She can definitely influence somebody else's daughter to do something. That's why I was like, I stopped. Because after seeing so many people just come out to the forefront, the Bella twins are a huge inspiration. I'm like, why? What? For every time for the longest, I just kept saying, why? But even then, afterwards, I was just like, all right, you know what? Maybe I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm not a woman. It's like I'm not a woman, so nothing Nikki Bella did really was going to inspire me. he was definitely gonna do something else for me if you know what I mean. It was gonna do something, but it definitely wasn't gonna inspire me. But it's like, and a huge shout out to C Fluid, Brittany Brooks, next ID. That's a fact, man. And I love telling the story where I was I asked her about just getting to the shows. And she was like, yeah, I get to the shows, but I don't drive. So usually my parents have to drop me off. I was like, okay, that's cool. That's problem. That ain't no problem. And then like I'm like not thinking of it. Like, sure, if your parents gotta take you if your parents gotta take you places to have you follow your dream, that ain't no problem, sure. And then she goes, well, yeah. And I also have to, do this and do that. I forgot what she was talking, but she said I also have to do this and do that because I also have school to worry about. And I'm like, school? Parents? I was like, I'm sorry, if I can just, how old are you? She was like, I'm 16. I'm like, you're 16? And you're like, and that was around the time I had went to an event and I had saw her wrestle. And I'm like, you're 16. Like, you're 16. Like, and it wasn't nothing like, oh, you're 16. Like, I'm like, you're 16 and you're wrestling this hard hitting style. And not only that, you're amazing. Like, you're a top tier talent in Arizona, like in Phoenix, at least at the time. Like, she was dope. Like, she was insanely dope. How old is she? She is right now, she gotta be 19. Right now, she gotta be of age because she's dating Chris Bay, the man that unfortunately got injured in the TNA event and was paralyzed. She's dating him right now, and she's actually been following him through his journey, followed him through his process. And huge shout out to him. We're wishing him a speedy recovery. He's looked like he's back in, not necessarily back in action, but back to doing athletic stuff. But it looks like he's back in the gym and doing great work. And I mean, it's just a blessing that you're walking, brother. So you're like not even saying that in like a disrespectful way. It's like we never know what the outcome is. With injuries like yours and injuries like Tyson Kidd and injuries like and just neck injuries in general. So, like I said, the fact that you're able to walk and the fact that you're able to just live your best life is beautiful. So, huge shout out to both of them. They're both living their best life together, forever. Whatever Vince McMahon had wanted us to say. Like whatever Vince wanted us to say. In totality, AJ Lee, buns. AJ Lee, I love you, but man, in-ring work is going to take a minute. It's going to take a minute to get behind. But same with Maxine Dupree. It took me a minute to get behind Maxine Dupree's in-ring work. But speaking of Maxine Dupree, oh, wait, before I get to that, Penta and Dragon Lee had a really solid match, a really good back and forth. That match, Bleacher Report gave it A, and that one I can really agree with because that was so back and forth. Dragon Lee just put on a masterclass. I love the styles clash he hit in the match. I thought that was really smart. Huge shout out to his friend, AJ Styles. So you got to give credit where credit is due. Both those guys just put on a high octane classic. And it was fun to watch. It was definitely fun. You got to give it to Maxine Dupree versus Nighty. I've been waiting for Nighty to beat the absolute brakes off of Maxine Dupree, and I'm glad she got it done. Jeez. I'm glad that, what she say, the dungeon is back. The dungeon doesn't die, and you see it. It's like you definitely see it. I'm loving this. I'm loving this Natalya. Maxine Dupree, she doesn't have to go back to that's what a lot of people don't understand. Like, Maxine Dupree doesn't have to go back to doesn't have to go back to the stomping ground. She doesn't have to go to the back of the line or anything like that. She'll be just fine. You lost to Natty. Go back to the drawing board, figure it out, and come back and try to beat her. That's all it is. And honestly, Natty should have beat you much quicker. Natty should have beat you much quicker. They graded this match a C-, but they expect us to believe that AJ Lee and Bailey was a B+. Come on now, like let's put our thinking caps on. Like, let's put our thinking caps on, brother. I'm so sick of seeing Stephanie Vaquer taking on Raquel Rodriguez. I feel like that's a match that's well drawn out its course. Has overstayed its welcome. It's taken a long time to conclude, and we've been wanting it to conclude. In the description on Bleacher Report, Natty and Maxine, it says this feud could not be any colder than it is now. I mean, honestly, Stephanie Vaquer is still going back and forth with Liv Morgan, but how many times do you got to beat down Liv Morgan's bodyguard? You know, it's like how many times do we got to keep going on with this? I feel like this matchup is getting old, it's getting stale, and it's about that time to give it a rest. It's about that time to just give it a break at this point. CM Punk and Roman Reigns went face to face. Who shout out to C Fluid? At least one. At least one Lee had a solid, great match tonight, brother. How could you? How could you? See, that's your problem. That's your problem. We were just talking about it. We were just talking about you, brother. In all seriousness, man, I'm telling you, my man's quick with it. My man is quick with it. I'm also, and of course, before we conclude here, and I'm also trying to, order some Popeyes, trying to get some, because I don't like to eat too heavy if I'm about to go to sleep too. So I'm like, let me just order some red beans and rice and call it a day. But CM Punk and Roman, I don't know why I told y'all that. It's like I don't know why I told y'all that. Like I'm over here like, hey, what y'all want something? Y'all want something from Popeyes real fast? Like, but CM Punk and Roman Reigns, of course, they had their back and forth, and like I said, it's pretty much going to be the same thing over and over again. All of us have hit the nail on the head with this rivalry, that it's going to be the same old stuff. They're going to say the same old things to each other, and now we know. Like we've been saying, C Fluid is my witness. We've been saying that CM Punk is old for the absolute longest. Now we know what would happen if we say it to his face. We know what will happen if we call CM Punk old to his face. He gonna swing on you. It's not about his wife. Like he talked about, Roman Reigns brought up his wife. Am I wrong? Like Roman Reigns said, "Hey man, you guys want to talk about part time? Let's talk about your wife." It's like your wife part time, but it's still make it high quality money. It's just like Roman Reigns brought that up. You CM Punk, no problem at all. You talked about your wife, you ain't say nothing. But as soon as he called you old, that's when all lines are crossed. You've really done it this time, brother, type deal. Like, but you shout out to C Fluid. Dang, Popeye still open out your way? Oh, of course, yeah. Of course. Especially now that they opened up the new one. They opened up another one near my crib, right by House of Pizza, honestly. Right on the same strip of House of Pizza. They opened up a Popeyes that I'm pretty sure is still gonna be insanely crowded. Everybody's gonna be struggling to get in as usual. Nothing really changes. Nothing really changes once you get into a Popeye. Once you get into Popeyes, or just talk about Popeyes in general. Also put in okay, I'm done talking. I was like, because I'll be yapping about y'all. I'll be yapping y'all for the longest, just talking about random stuff. What? 2 red beans and rice for $30. Why would I do that to myself? Like that, I feel like that's it. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Let's talk about like CM Punk and Roman face to face. Honestly, it's gonna be the same old stuff over and over again. Roman going back and forth with his cousins, I think is pretty cool in itself. You shout out to C Fluid. I know which one you're talking about. Yeah, I'm telling you. Yeah, that one just opened up. I think the one on the Pizza Hut just opened up too. Popeyes and Pizza Hut just opened up. Oh, I could go to I could get some Pizza Hut, but I'll think about it later. But yeah, Popeyes is still open. So if you're hungry, they just rebuilt over the old one. Yeah, they just rebuilt over the old one. Yeah, that's exactly what they did. Which still bothered me because, like, if you weren't paying attention on Indianapolis and you were just flying on the right lane, you were gonna run smack dab into that Popeyes line. Like whoever is waiting in the street, to get into the Popeyes parking lot, you're smacking right in the back of their car. Like if you're not paying attention, because their lines just dip out into the street and it's annoying. Popeyes, y'all gotta fix that. Mayor, I ain't gonna bring up your name, but we gotta talk about that. We gotta fix something out. We gotta work on that. But Roman Reigns got punched in the face for calling CM Punk old. I do think that's a little bit over the top. I think that's a little over the top, just maybe because, like I said, CM Punk, like he brought up your wife. Yeah, but I ain't gonna bring it up. I ain't gonna do it again. Like you brought up your wife. You should have at least reacted there. I said the same thing about Roman. Roman still hasn't swung on CM Punk for talking about his deceased father. Like, come on now. Roman still hasn't done anything. He had to get his cousins out to do it. His cousins have to go out there and fight for his father's honor. What sense does this make? It's like, but I understand where it's coming. I'm not saying that this is stupid. Like, I'm not saying that this, because I still love what's going on here. But honestly, like I just think that there's gonna be a point in time where this is gonna be overly drawn out. We're gonna continue to see the same old stuff. It's gonna be overly stale, and then at the end of the day, we're gonna be not necessarily uninterested, but we're gonna be just disappointed with how this whole thing turned out. You shout out to C Fluid Facts talking about Pop. I know he's talking about Popeyes, man. You gonna run smack dab into somebody on the street, man, with the quickness. But that was Monday Night Raw. That was Monday Night Raw. This is the Hill Turn 30. We went an hour 6, but that's because we had to get into AEW as well. So, honestly, I don't see myself going live tomorrow. But one thing I will do, since I got WWE 2K26, I will go on Twitch. So I got work tomorrow. I get off work at 9 o'clock tomorrow. So if you see your brother live on Twitch around 9 o'clock, probably from 9 to 11, that's where you'll most likely see me, and that's where I'll get active. But I'll most likely be, if you see me again live, I'll most likely be streaming on Twitch, doing a WWE 2K26 stream. And it's mainly going to be, I'm not going to do my rise. I'm not going to do the showcase, even though I thought the showcase was stupid. I talked about that last week. But I'm going to do my universe with my character. So it's technically like a career mode, but I'm just going to play as my character and just go through a couple rivalries and then see if I can get myself a mid-card title. Last year, I won the Royal Rumble on a stream, which was so crazy because for as long as I've played 2K games or WWE games, I've never like single-handedly just been one and done on a Royal Rumble. I've always had to start it over or play it on easy mode so I could be one and done. Last year was the very first time on stream I played on legend mode, and I even paused the game like midway. I was like, is this on legend mode? I was like, am I killing right now? And when I won, I was just like, I almost cried. Like, I was like, brother, is this like, did I want an Oscar? Did I want a Grammy? Like, am I winning like a Nobel Peace Prize? Like, did I do, like, I thought I had an insane achievement in that moment. But yeah, I'm gonna go live on Twitch sometime this week as well. So be safe out there. And huge shout out to C Fluid as well for joining the stream. It's always a fun time talking to you, communicating with you, brother. Be safe out there. Somebody told me at the radio station, they say that we've been having a winter, summer, spring, fall day. Oh, we've been having winter, summer, spring, fall days, meaning that it snows, it rains, it's sunny, and then it just gets cold all in one day. We've been having winter, summer, spring, fall days. So, C Fluid, if you're out there in the treacherous weather, be safe out there, brother, because it is ridiculous. It was ridiculous this morning. I was like, I got off work last night and it was raining. I woke up this morning and everything was just covered in snow. I was like, what is going on? Like, what is happening? It was irritating. Huge shout out to C Fluid. Enjoy your Popeyes. Definitely will. And a huge shout out to you guys for joining on TK. Tim King. Hope to see you on Wednesday. I hope to just work something out in general. Love you, brother. Appreciate you. If you're watching on Facebook Live, love you and appreciate you as well. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and I'll see you guys next time.